2K crew, what is up? We are back. Yes, we're recording on Sunday again this week. And 2K's weather was absolutely beautiful all weekend. We kind of stepped out. We broke quarantine, if you will, and ventured out and had some dinner and some drinks last night. It was good to get out and about.
It was very good.
And it was amazing to get a draft beer.
Yes, we've been talking about that for like 2 months now.
Yes.
That was
finally
probably,
happened.
as far as just going out to a public restaurant, that was definitely the thing I missed the most was a draft beer.
Absolutely. I mean, it was to the point where I was borderline going to get a kegerator because I love beer. I really do. I'm like most every regular day Joe, but to me, when it comes to beer,
there's no comparison.
No, I love it when it comes out of a tap. Even, domestic beer like Bud Light. I mean, it's something that there's a different taste to it.
Absolutely.
However, I did wake up this morning with a little bit of a headache just because, the CO2 and everything, and just wasn't used to it.
Yep.
But it was well fucking worth it.
Yeah.
Fucking worth it.
Same thing for me. I had a headache for about, an hour or so. Took a couple ibuprofen.
Good to go.
Got some food in me, and I was fine.
Yep, it was well worth it. Well worth it. So hopefully, 2K crew, you were able to get out and about this weekend as well. And before we jump into it, I do want to apologize for everyone who did watch the video last week. I'm still getting the hang of this whole lighting situation, and I don't want fucking blue. So it looked like we had a police spotlight on us. So this week I think it did a little bit better. So you're not getting this blinding light off of this. And yeah, it was. I was editing it, and I was very ashamed of it, but I'd rather put out, the content was good. The audio was good. It's just that the video was kind of shitty. So we're learning as we go, as we always have. So chalk it up as a loss. We'll move on, and this week will be better. This week will be better. So I do apologize for that. But 2K crew, this is the 72nd episode, and we're having to be very creative. As we've kind of talked about in the past, and we actually had something cool to talk about, which is the MLB Draft, and then we're gonna jump into. I think this is episode 3 of our sports card collecting. I guess you could call it a series, but just wanted to update you guys of what we found, and if you're trying to get into the hobby again or for the first time, we'll give you all the tips and tricks that we have, and kind of where we look for stuff, and so let's jump into it. The draft. Is it just me, or whenever any Detroit team has the first pick or a very high pick, I always get nervous because they do tend to have a track record of
fucking it up,
just fucking everything up, and it's not just the Tigers, it's not just the Pistons, it's not just the Lions, it's all of them. The Red Wings, I think they have a pretty good tendency with the draft. I don't remember them fucking anything up as badly as like the Pistons and the Lions and stuff like that. So Tigers were number 1, and we kind of touched on it a little bit last week, where we kind of thought the Tigers would go, and sure as shit, Mr. Torkelson goes off the board at number 1. And for once, I really didn't think the Lions shit the bed on their draft this year, and a Tiger won in their draft.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We talked about it obviously a lot last week, and I kind of broke down both Torkelson and Austin Martin, who I think was probably the number 2 option, even though we did see him slip in the draft to pick number 5 to Toronto. But Torkelson's just, I think he's the sure thing. Like that bat, I don't think you're going to see any problem with that bat translating to the next level. Austin Martin, very good player, obviously very, very versatile player, can play multiple positions on the field, to where Torkelson, even though I thought it was very weird that he was drafted as a third baseman, and obviously played first base all through college, and then later in the draft, the Tigers drafted the third baseman for Arizona State also. So that was kind of weird to me that he was listed as a third baseman. I think of him as a first baseman. To me, that's what the Tigers need. But either way, I don't give a shit what position you have him at. That bat is going to find its way to Detroit sooner than later.
Yeah, I think for the folks that were clamoring that Casey Mize should be brought up, if this year would have been a normal year, everyone was clamoring with him and some of the other younger arms to be coming up sooner rather than later. I think that Torkelson will have a much quicker path to the big leagues than the pitchers do, just because of the pitch counts, and you got to work. You're going from a college schedule to a minor league schedule, and you got to build up those innings in that arm, and then again too, you have to kind of keep them under rein. Whereas with a hitter or a first baseman, you just go out and play.
Yeah.
There's no real physical limitations. Now, if he starts out and struggles, then yeah, of course, keep him back. But I really think that, if whatever happens this year, and next year's spring training, obviously he's going to be invited to spring training. We're going to see him in a Tigers uniform in Lakeland. I guarantee it. Whether he breaks with the team, I doubt it. Because even if you look at some younger players like Bryce Harper, even Chris Bryant and some of those, they wait until a little bit after, because you gain that year of arbitration. But it wouldn't shock me to see him up before the All-Star break. And it's not like the Tigers are going to be contending for anything. But like I said, I think it's just going to be hinged upon how well he's adjusting. Obviously, there's no minor league season this year, so that's kind of a setback. But you'll see him up before a lot of these young pitchers, just because it's just the way they do pitchers. You know what I mean?
And for him too, I mean, you see a lot of these kids that are drafted early in the rounds, and maybe it takes them 2-3 years before they get their shot. But a lot of those are high school kids that are being drafted. The thing with Torkelson is he was on year 3 in college. I mean, obviously his third year was cut short, but his 2 seasons in college, he broke the freshman home run record at Arizona State. And if for those of you that don't know who currently held the record, it was Barry Bonds. So he broke that. So that's a very very nice record to break.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then came right back in his sophomore season and had basically the same slash line. So I mean, obviously it wasn't a 1-year thing. He was doing it. Did it a second year, and then was on pace to blow that record away with the beginning of the season this year, and then obviously because of Corona cut short. So, yeah, I think I'm with you. I think you might see something where, obviously Detroit's probably still a ways away from competing, but I think if you get around the All-Star break, you get especially to September call-ups, I think you're going to see him get a shot, and then obviously the season after that, looking into the 2021 season or the 2022 season. That's where I think he's going to have his opportunity to start. Opening day in Detroit. And
hands down.
To me, I just don't see, especially if he does come up as a first baseman, I don't see any first baseman in Detroit that's going to hold him back.
No.
So
no, especially since Miggy's going to be DH most of the time anyway.
Yep.
And Torkelson's a young kid. He still doesn't have that full major league season under his belt. So if Cabrera wants to play a day a week, who cares?
Yep.
You can just switch them out, in and out. One could DH, one could play the field, one could play the field, one could DH. So I don't see a problem with that at all.
Nope.
And so you mentioned it. The Blue Jays had something very nice fall in their lap. The kid that was number 2 overall.
Yeah, a lot of people had him as the number 1 player in the draft.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the thing with baseball is that it's really, really hard to find those sure things. You see it all the time in basketball and in football and those drafts. You have a pretty good list of sure hits. In baseball, it's a different story. There's a lot of guys that have been drafted in the first round of MLB drafts that you never even hear of again.
No.
You hear him on that draft day and then you don't hear him again. So
one that sticks out in my mind is Ben McDonald. I don't know why, but that one does. Jason Isringhausen was another one that was drafted extremely high. However, he did have some success in the bullpen towards the end of his career, but not as a starter. Baseball is probably the most inexact science when it comes to a draft, and that way too. I mean, there's when you are number 1, 2, 3, 4, you have a lot of holes to fill.
Yeah,
I mean you're bad. It's kind of like we talked about with the Bengals and Joe Burrow. There's a reason why the Bengals got Joe Burrow, because they fucking sucked. Is Joe Burrow going to come and just erase all of those bad parts of the team? No, but he's gonna address one. He's gonna address one. It's the same thing, because the Orioles had pick 2, the Marlins had pick 3, if I'm not mistaken, and they both went pitchers. The Orioles kind of threw everyone for a curveball because what was it, Mays, right?
Yep.
Didn't take him.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't take the number 1 rated pitcher either.
Mm-hmm.
They went their own way, which is fine. And then Jeet sits there. This big lefty falls in his lap, and I'm pretty sure he got a huge chubby. And he's like, "Fuck yeah, let's go."
He didn't even take him though.
Oh, he didn't?
He went with the pitcher from Minnesota.
That's right.
Went with,
That's
I'm trying to remember the name there, but the best pitcher that was ever, and this is, we call him the best pitcher because that's what, that's what the rankings were.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously when it comes to the draft, you kind of pick your guys, and not every team's going to have the same, order as far as where they put players. But I think with Martin not being drafted by the Orioles at number 2, I think a lot of teams did not expect that, especially Marlins at 3 and Royals at 4. I don't think they were even expecting to have a chance at him. So they were already hell-bent on, we're going for pitcher, because Martin and Torkelson are obviously going to be off the board.
Right.
Well, the Orioles kind of threw a curveball in that, and I think that was the reason why you see Martin, who a lot of people had him as the number 1 guy on the board, and you see him slide to number 5, and Toronto sitting there. You're looking at some of these infielding prospects that Toronto has right now, and they were sitting right there in the perfect spot. And don't mind if I do.
Yeah,
we'll take him.
And again, someone that could play. You could easily plug him in at left field, and hell, he even played center. So very, that was one of his big upsides, is that he was so versatile. However, I think that kind of that the whole mentality of jack of all trades, master of none, might have caused at least a couple GMs to take a step back and be like, And speaking of the GMs in the draft process, this is all done virtually, and we're not even they're not just the draft, but the interviews and everything. They just had to go on tape because the season, these college seasons, high school seasons were canceled.
Yep.
So they're looking at last year's film or workout film from this year, and having to do all of their interviews online, Zoom style. So this was very, very unique for everyone involved, not, let alone the players. So that might have had something to do with it. I guarantee that whoever the GM picked, they had conversations over Zoom and stuff, for months now. And maybe you could totally be right. That the top 2 were gone, so we just didn't even bother talking to them. But yeah, Toronto's sitting there going, okay, yep,
yeah,
come on over, meet Mr. This is Kevin, this is Bo, this is Vladdy. You're gonna be playing with these dudes for a long fucking time, and then, God, that team, if the pitching goes even close to where the fielders are, that team is going to be, kind of a la the Cubs. A lot of homegrown talent, a lot of drafted talent, and ironically enough, a lot of second generation talent, which is very weird that they all end up on the same team. And so that's a team that's going to be very exciting to watch for a long time. Like I said, if the pitching can ever get there, which is going to be the Achilles heel maybe, but when you do have a farm system as stacked as theirs, you do have the prospects to go trade and get the arms you need. And whether that happens or not, that's still to be debated. But I think, yes, with a talent like Mays just sitting there, okay, just come on over. We were going to take this pitcher, but how could you pass that up?
Exactly.
How could you pass that up? And so take us a little deeper into the Tigers draft. Round 2, because again, going back to the uniqueness of this draft is it was only 5 rounds, correct? Yep. Instead of like 32 or whatever. But the players that did not get drafted can sign with teams. I think that's up to like $100,000 or something. Yep. And the teams can sign as many of them as they want to. There's not a limit to it. So even though players didn't get drafted, it's not like they're
a lot of them, they're still going to get their opportunity.
Yeah. So again, I just wanted to throw that out because a lot of folks don't know that, and it's very different.
And even when you look at normal draft years, I think people that really pay attention to baseball like us, I mean, we pay attention to the first 3 or 4 rounds of the draft, and then everything else is just kind of forgotten, So I don't think didn't think it with baseball of all sports, I don't think it was really that big of a deal to do it this style. I understand them doing it this way. I mean, obviously, you weren't able to scout, like you would on a normal year, to where I don't know if very many of these teams probably could come up with 40 fucking picks,
Right.
Because I mean, you just don't know the names. So
It'd be a lot different if the NFL went from 7 to 5.
Yes,
That'd be very different.
yes,
Very different.
Yep. But getting to the Tigers, obviously when it comes to you mentioned at the very beginning, the Tigers, or any team in Detroit, kind of has a way of overthinking and fucking things up. Mm-hmm. And then when you put Alavila in charge of everything, and anybody that listens knows I've been pretty critical of him. Like,
right.
I mean, before the draft started, I was talking to my dad. I was like, because they kept on showing like all the GMs and everything like in their office or their home office, and I said, man, they haven't showed Avila yet, and my dad was like, yeah, I haven't seen him yet either, and I was like, he's probably when they show him, he'll be watching fucking cartoons or something in there, like. But no, I cannot really after post draft, I cannot say anything bad about him. Like, in my opinion, he did not overthink anything.
Nope.
He basically did what I think he needed to do. He took best available in every single round. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit of a stretch with the last pick, but I think that's the time to stretch. And he stretched with a high school player that it really can't even call him a stretch, because he was supposed to be off the board before that time. So
it was projected like in the 3rd round or something, right around in there.
Yeah. So, but their first 4 picks are all position players. Now, every pick in the draft, all 5 of their picks were all position players.
Which is what they needed.
Exactly. And so, I mean, really, I can't say a bad thing about it. We've talked so many times about the great pitching that they have coming up, but they have not had as far as position players. They don't have that. They've been very weak there. And to draft 5 players, all different positions, I've seen people saying on there, well, how come Detroit drafts 3 third basemen? Baseball is different. Baseball, just because you're drafted as a position, right. You're not. It doesn't mean you're going to play there. Like, you're going to, if you hit in the minors, the big league team is going to find a position for you.
Kyle Schwarber.
Like, yes, exactly. I think of Chris Bryant when he was coming up. Like, it didn't matter what fucking position, but we're gonna figure that out. You think of Max Muncy coming up with the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. You're gonna find a way to get him in there, and if that means Cody Bellinger moving out to the outfield away from first base, we have to. You have to find ways, and if you can hit, teams are going to figure out a way to get you on the field. So
look at Craig Biggio. He was drafted as a catcher.
Yeah,
it went into the Hall of Fame as a second baseman.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter where you're drafted at. I mean, I remember watching when Nick Castellanos came up for they called him up for September call up. He was playing left field, and he was pretty. He was supposed to be the third baseman, and the third baseman of the future. Obviously, that didn't, the third base really didn't work out. But I really don't think they gave him a really fair shake at it. But that's neither here nor there. Then he ends up in right field, and hell, they were talking about moving him to first. Mm-hmm. And when it's your bat will travel, no matter what position you play, your bat will travel. Like a la Kyle Schwarber came up as a catcher, and hell plays left field now. Well, kind of plays left field, but he hits. Mm-hmm. They're gonna find a way to put your bat in your line in any lineup. So aside from Torkelson. I remember you saying that the Tigers did draft a catcher.
They went catcher in the 2nd round. We talked about it all last week. As far as there's obviously a lot of question marks with Detroit and who's the catcher of the future. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I kind of went back and forth with Jake Rogers, as in my opinion, he's the leader in the clubhouse of taking that job. Obviously they signed Romine, so Romine's going to be the starter now, but he's not long term. He's just kind of the veteran catcher that they want to have in there for the next year or two. Exactly. And then one of these young kids is going to have to take over. So them going catcher in the 2nd round, I thought it was a very good value pick. Mm-hmm. A lot of people had him as the number 1 catcher in the draft, and it was a very very good catching draft. So for them to get a 1st round talent in the 2nd round with that, I don't hate it. Mm-hmm. The 3rd pick, when they went with the outfielder from LSU, that was probably my favorite pick. Other than Torkelson, obviously. Right. But because a lot of the scouts and everything kind of compared him as a Brett Gardner. And we've talked about it a lot. Brett Gardner
my favorite person.
He's one of those guys, like, you don't like him if he's playing on a team that you're going against. But if you have that guy on your team,
You love him
you love him
every day.
And Tigers, when's the last time Detroit has had a true catalyst in their lineup that could maybe stretch singles into doubles and steal some bases and just kind of wreak havoc on the base path? And so I like that pick a lot, and I think that we saw Christian Stewart playing in the outfield last year, and I just don't think that he's. I think that this is this is a kid, and his first name, I can't even think of his first name anymore. I know his last name's Cabrera. I mean, obviously, I won't forget that.
Right.
But I think that he's gonna, and even a lot of the high ups and the sports writers and everything are saying that he's a guy that's going to be starting in left field for Detroit sooner than later. And I mean, obviously, with some of the outfielders that Detroit has up there, and in the bigs right now, I don't think they're going to be able to keep a lot of these young kids away for much longer. I mean, there's just not a lot of talent there.
No.
Christian Stewart, he's just not. I don't see him long term being,
The one that the one outfielder for the Tigers that I'm really really pulling for is Jacoby Jones.
I always have.
I love. He's a great fielder. Just his bat is just way too streaky. So.
And the one positive with him is his bat was coming around last year. Unfortunately, the injuries came with that, and then he just wasn't on the field. But when he was on the field last year, his bat was coming a long way. He had cut down on the strikeouts. He was starting to hit for some power, and then obviously what he can do defensively. I mean, he's one of the better center fielders in the game. So
in a big center field to play as well.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the Tigers did a very very good job. There were what you and I were talking last night. It kind of surprised me. I think there was 5 catchers taken in the first round, and now mind you, this is a shortened first round because the Astros cheated.
Yeah.
So they weren't invited to play in the first round. So, I'd never really. It must have been a deep catcher draft because I can't remember 5 catchers going in a draft.
Yeah.
And the ones that usually did were the 20s and 30s, the high 20s to the to the end of the first round. I think there's one taken in the top 10. So, and then for the Tigers to get their pick in the second round is even more of a blessing because he passed through everybody that there was 5 teams that took catchers.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think all in all, I mean, I'd give the Tigers either an A-. Definitely not an A+. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to get an A+. But definitely amazing. And it's just going to be. I think it's not going to be if these kids hit the field. It's when.
Yeah.
And put that together with the young pitching.
Yeah, I mean, 3 or 4 years ago when this whole rebuild was starting, it was like, man, this is going to be a long stretch of really really bad baseball in Detroit, and yes, it has been. I mean, we've watched it firsthand, but I think there's some things, for the true Tigers fans out there. I think there's a lot of things kind of coming together now, and it's starting to make sense a little bit. And I think that there's some things out there that are. I know me personally as a fan, I'm getting to the point where I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, there's a lot of very young talent coming up.
There's something to look forward to.
And now this is the time where. I'm not saying yet, but in another year or two, this is the time where you go and you make that big splash in the offseason. And, I think of Francisco Lindor being one of those guys that obviously he's not going back to Cleveland. So he's going to hit the market. He's probably going to be traded this year if the season does get, back on. Probably going to end up as a fucking Yankee. Probably. Would not shock me one bit.
I don't know where they'd play him, but you're probably right.
Then he's going to hit the market. And I think of all these young kids coming up with Detroit, and maybe a lot of these kids being a year or 2 away. The one thing that they do not have in their system right now is a shortstop. I mean, they have pitching covered.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to see all these young kids come up, and then that's when you grab a Lindor and maybe grab a bullpen guy or 2 and see what you can do. I mean,
yeah. No, I'm in total agreement with you. However, it would be kind of funny to have the interdivisional, go from the Indians to the Tigers because the Indians aren't going to pay for them. The Tigers are like, fuck yeah, we'll pay you. Come on over. And Lindor's never really, knock on wood, has never been, injury plagued. He's probably one of the best shortstops in the league right now. One of the only switch hitting shortstops as well. And
And you're still going to get good years out of him.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he's going
Oh,
to
yeah.
hit the market at 26. I mean,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget he's been in the league a long time, but he also debuted at a very young age.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
he's hitting the market and going to be 26 years old. So, yeah, he's going to be one of those guys that's probably going to push for, that upper 300 mil contract, close to 400 mil, and it's going to be a 10-year deal.
Yeah.
But you got to think with him, you're going to get, I mean, you're going to get at least 6-7 years of good baseball out of him.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, like if you win one World Series in that time span, like I don't give a fuck about what you're paying him. And I mean, I think a lot of people are kind of against the contract, obviously that we're tied into with Miggy, and it's hard to argue it because what Miggy did when he was in his prime, kind of before injuries. But I think if Detroit would have won one World Series in that time,
It'd have paid for it.
yes, I don't think there would be any bad blood with fans and what some of the negative shit that you see them say about Miggy, but. It's just winning solves everything. I mean, when you sign these major deals, you're investing in this money into this deal, thinking that we're going to make a shit ton of money off of jersey sales and ticket sales and all that. But at the same time, we got to win one. We got to win a World Series in this. We got to and so to me. I know a lot of teams are kind of going away from that, that big contract, other than like the Dodgers and the Yankees. Obviously,
Right.
they're still doing it every year. But as a fan, I know me personally as a fan, when I see teams like my favorite team doing that, all it does is it shows me that, hey, they're trying to fucking win. They're trying to bring excitement in. And I would take that any day over a team like the fucking Pittsburgh Pirates or, that just dump away all their talent.
Yeah.
Then
Trade for Chris Archer, which is still weird. But no, even going beyond what Lindor can do on the field, look what he's a major clubhouse presence. He's someone that's very electric that people are drawn towards. So, yeah, that would be something. That would be something. And if that's when Avila wants to open up the checkbook, then and if he's available, I hope they make a run at him. I really do. I really do. And there's, and it's not just Lindor. There's going to be quite a few other ones that are going to be in the market. So. Just hope that they're kind of past like the Ryan Zimmerman signings and the Justin Upton signings, and spend your money a little bit more wiser rather than just getting the hot name.
Yeah.
So,
and I think they're at a point now where they're going to be a lot more attractive to these free agents. I mean, obviously here in the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of big time free agents don't want to jump in on that on that system because they won 47 games last year.
No one wants to be on a rebuilding team.
Yes, but when you start seeing these younger kids' names coming up, and that hey, they're starting to turn shit around, and they're going to be very, very relevant soon. I mean, I think of one of the very first teams that kind of pops off to me as the White Sox.
Oh yeah,
and what they have going on there now. I think we heard guys like Manny Machado and Bryce Harper when they were the free agents, and the White Sox were fucking legit. They were in that race for them. So 3 or 4 years ago, White Sox would have never even been in the conversation. But these players that are signing these deals, they start to see, okay, I'm signing on for 8, 9, 10 years. I like where this White Sox organization's sitting right now.
Yes.
Maybe this is the perfect destination to jump into. And Bryce Harper, you see him do it with the Phillies. The Phillies, very, very young at the time, have a very good farm system. sees it as an opportunity. Same thing can be said for Machado going to the Padres.
Yep.
So I think that the Tigers are finally getting back to that point where they are a little bit more attractive to the free agents. Still not where they want to be, but we all knew that it was gonna take time.
Oh, of course.
To start all this, it took a lot of time for the White Sox to get to where they're at now, and obviously they had to trade their big names away. You think of Chris Sale and Jose Quintana and the big names that they had to give away.
Look who they got back.
Exactly.
Look who they got back. Moncada, Eloy. I mean, they're just studs all over the place now. So it's trading for one stud right now for a stud for the next 10 years. So, well, I think we about wrapped up our. There's really not a whole lot more we can. I mean, of course, we can talk about the draft for hours and hours, but I think for the most part, probably 90% of our listeners are Tigers fans. So, I was pretty stoked about my Red Sox. I thought they did a very good job as well. Didn't really pay attention to the Cubs. Sorry, Cubs fans. Didn't really pay attention to the White Sox. Sorry, White Sox fans. But yeah, that's if let us know if you guys want us to break down more of the draft. Go ahead and drop a comment, and we'll be more than happy to do that for you. But if that's the case, this is our little teaser. This is our little teaser. That and I wanted 2Ks to have a boner talking about Torkelson on camera. So, but before we change gears here, got to mention Drop Anchor Tavern. Drop Anchor Tavern. We were actually there last night. The restaurant is open. They do have kind of an abbreviated menu for right now. The only really downside is they do not have draft beer yet, but I believe it's Thursday. They're going to have Keno and everything up and running. So check the face. It's Drop Anchor Tavern, 269-646-2525. Hop on their Facebook page. Check out the updates. The owner Chris posts updates about what they're doing, what their plans are. But yeah, they're slowly moving into regular restaurant things, so that's awesome. But if you still want takeout, go ahead and give that 269-646-2525. Their whole menu is available for takeout. So tell them Turbo and 2K sent you, and you will not be disappointed because we support people that support us. So there is our paying the bills, if you will. But this is something, for those of you that haven't followed us for a while, you know that 2Ks and I have kind of started to get back into card collecting, baseball cards in particular. I have dabbled a little bit in, I think I've bought one basketball card and maybe about 10 football cards. Everything else has been baseball. And I thought we'd kind of talk a little bit about, because we kind of left off the last, I guess you could call it, episode. We were still fairly new in the whole online breaking, and figured we'd give everyone an update about what we've tried, what we've done, what products we've done, as well as kind of talk about the differences now with all these higher end products coming out. Or some of them aren't even that higher end. It's just that the demand is there, and it's driving the prices out the fucking roof. So let's start with, let's kind of do a little bit of a rewind. When we're talking about a card break, there's YouTube channels that you go to their website, and instead of buying an entire box of cards, you buy part of it. A lot of times you can pick your own teams, and obviously the teams that have the most cards or most hits, if you will, tend to be a little bit more expensive. But still, the ones that are on the lower end, there's still some good hits available. They're just not as regular. And then there's random teams where they pretty much take the box, divide it, price wise, not like product wise, price wise. Everyone pays the same, and then they randomize which team you get. And whichever team you get, they open them, whatever like the Blue Jays, for instance, like you had last night. All the Blue Jays cards you get sent to you. So it's a way to get into a product that it's not going to cost you an arm. Well,
depends on what product you're looking at.
Yeah, it's a more affordable way to get into products that have maybe that higher dollar value where you can't afford $300 a box. I can't afford $300 a box, but I'll be willing to throw $40 or $50 at a random team, and hopefully get a few hits, and it's easier to it's easier to play the game that way. And so we were at dinner last night, and tell folks how you got into your break last night, and then kind of give them a results type thing.
Yeah, so probably out of all these breaking websites, probably my favorite one that I've dealt with is Leighton Sports Cards. I just think that I like the breakers. I like listening to what they have to say. Maybe a little bit more pricey than some of the other breakers, but always, and they always, there's a schedule of when all these breaks are going to go down. So I like that part about it, because before you even sign up, you know exactly when they're going to break your product.
What time. That's what sets them apart from is that. And for everyone listening, it's Layton Sports Cards. Look them up on YouTube, and it's LaytonSportsCards.com for their website. And you go on their website, on the right hand side of the website, it'll have the upcoming breaks and what time they are. or you can go into live, click on live breaks, and you can choose your sport. They even do fucking WWF, which I don't know who the fuck would want those, but they do them. And then just go down to what sport you want, and it'll tell you all the available breaks and what's there. And the very first line, it'll say, Friday, Friday at 5 or Friday at 6:30 or whenever. So that's the part I like about them. Now, there's a couple other ones that we've done. Fire Hands. They don't have, they have everything listed and what it costs to get in. But theirs is more of a, they rip it when it sells out.
Yep.
So they'll send you an email, and if you don't have your email notifications on, it is what it is. But once the break is over, it goes up as a YouTube video. Yep. So even if you miss it live, you can still go find your video, because it'll have,
it'll give the product, and then it will give the break number.
Yep.
And when you buy that, you obviously, you just remember what your break number was.
Yep.
And you can. It's very, very easy to find. That's with pretty much every.
Yeah.
Whatever breaker you choose. I mean, they're all pretty. It's very easy to find. It's not like you're going to be hunting all over YouTube trying to find your break. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah.
But no, I went into. I did more of a lower end. It wasn't like a real high end break that I was doing last night. It was just the Panini Select. And actually, when they first came up, they were charging, I want to say $54 for random teams, and the price actually dropped to $40. So that was what made me. I was like, I'm not a huge fan of the card, but I have seen a lot of kind of the rookie card that I've been hunting the most this year is Bo Bichette. And I've seen a lot of Bo Bichette autographs in that break. So I said,
love Bo Bichette.
I want to jump in on it. Random teams for $40 if I got a shot at, what if I pull Toronto and I can do it. And so I did it, and come to find out, I pulled Toronto in the randomizer. So I was very pumped about that. We were actually at dinner, and I told Chell before we even left, I was like, God damn, we're gonna be over at the restaurant, and when my break starts, But she didn't mind. She didn't mind, and we sat there at the dinner table, and I had the break going right there at the table for everybody to watch. And I did not pull. I did pull. I want to say like 5 or 6 Bo Bichette cards. Unfortunately, not no autographs or anything like that. But just being able to pull any of his cards, I'm happy with at this point, just because he's kind of probably my top player that I'm going after in this rookie class. I know a lot of people are all about Jordan right now, and probably as far as if you like the long ball, which a lot of cards tend to sell
Chicks
more.
dig the long ball
So
2Ks.
Jordan's obviously that, but I think the best all around player in this rookie class is Bichette. And plus he was a shortstop and I was a shortstop, so
it's probably all around. I mean, you've got him, you've got Gavin Lux, and you got Luis Robert. I mean, those are the three, and then of course Jordan. But to me, those are the top 3 that everyone's chasing, because it's hard not to. It's hard not to. These kids are fantastic, and we can talk about Bo Bichette for hours and hours and hours. But yeah, so now you did the break.
Yeah, and I did pull a auto of one of Toronto's pitchers. I don't know much about him. I'm probably going to botch this name, but I think it is. I know it was TJ, and then the last name started with a Z. It was like TJ Zeich or
Hushmanzada.
So any of you Toronto fans out there that are pissed off because I just botched that name, I'm sorry.
Give us throw us a bone.
But I did pull an auto of him, so at least I didn't walk out of the out of the break without a hit. I mean, a lot of people, that's the one thing that you're basically playing a lotto when it comes down to this, and more often than not, you're going to walk out of that with no hit. So for me to be able to pull 5 or 6 Bo Bichette cards and then also pull an auto, I came out of it pretty happy. I mean, I have to imagine I at least value wise with the cards that I pulled, I at least made my money back.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Yes, that's very true. Now what Leighton does, and I'm sure all the other breakers do, is once the break's done, now Leighton ships every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So your break was Saturday, so your cards probably won't go out until Monday. Now the coolest part about Leighton is all shipping's free, even international. Doesn't matter. Now there are some some cards or some products where they don't ship some cards. Any of the Bowman stuff, they only ship the refractors and like some very certain amount of players or any color or autos. All just the regular base or paper. There's
Commons.
There's so much fucking slang around Bowman. It just drives me nuts. But yeah, all the paper, they don't send you. And some folks like that, some folks don't. I'm kind of, if it's something like Bowman, I want all of them.
I'm with you on that.
I want all of them because for those of you that don't know, Bowman usually puts out baseball players' very first cards, and that's they're called Bowman first. I mean, they'll have a little first insignia on them. So that's usually their first ever card printed, and even if it's a base card or paper, I still want it.
Absolutely.
I still want it. Like Durant, the stud that's supposed to take Jackie Bradley Jr.'s spot for the Red Sox. I see some of his paper fly by, and I'm like,
I want that.
I'd
card.
want that.
Yeah,
I'd
absolutely.
want that.
Yeah.
And
I'm the same way with any Tiger. I mean, any Tiger prospect that I see, I want the fucking card. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it bothers me a little bit.
But then again, you get a product like what you bought into, all of the vet base doesn't ship. So all of your rookies, all of the hits, all the different variations, inserts, everything like all the special cards. Put it that way. But yeah, your Francisco. If you PC Francisco Lindor and you have the Indians, and it's just a base card, you don't get it.
And that was I rewatched the break today, and there was a couple. I know I get it that they're just base cards, but there was a couple Vladdy Juniors and there was a couple Kevin Biggios and that I want those fucking. I paid the $40 and that's just part of it. I mean, you can read in the description before you even buy into it, and it'll tell you exactly what's going to be shipped, so beforehand. And I knew that beforehand, but it's still when you watch it happen and watch them just throw those cards that should be yours
right.
Off to the side. It bothers you a little bit, but at least they do go. They are donated, to a good cause. So
donated to like children's hospitals, and actually some teachers in the area use them as teaching aids.
Yeah,
because I mean, there's a lot of numbers on the back of a baseball card, and it'd be just think. Try to rewind back to your elementary school days or middle school days and learning how to do math off of a baseball card.
Yeah.
I think that'd be
pretty dope. If you would have thrown a Vladdy Jr. card in front of me and let me look at stats and stuff, I would have probably paid attention.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it definitely goes to a good cause, but I'm with you. I'm one of those pack rats. I like the cards. Now, another cool thing about Layton is that if you want to buy your own personal box, you can actually buy a box and they'll open it on YouTube for everyone to see. I really don't. I really don't get that. I want to. If I buy it, I want to open it. Especially if it's an entire box, I want to open it. But it is that cool thing where, because I remember when the DNS was here in town, it was always cooler to open up packs at DNS so you can show everybody what you got. And now it's doing it to people all over the fucking world. But it's this thing, I want it. But you can either have them rip it, which means they open it on YouTube for it, or they'll ship it. And sometimes there's like a $10 difference. They'll have a sale for certain boxes if you rip it. But if you just want it shipped, they'll ship it to you so you can open it as well. So they're pretty much a one-stop shop when it comes to. Now, Fire Hands doesn't do personals. Steel City Collectibles does. The Steel City Collectibles is another one, and if you look on YouTube or firehandcards.com is another one that we've been talking about, and the breakers on there are pretty cool. I've only caught a couple Steel City Collectibles because they do it during. A lot of times they're doing it during the day, and whereas Layton usually starts at 5, and because they're out of Florida, Steel City, they're out of Pittsburgh.
Yep.
And Fire Hands is out of California. So you've got totally different time zones working here. And so, yeah, that I usually, get off work, flip on Leighton for a little bit. Because another cool thing about Leighton too is their breaks are bundled together. Like baseball's first,
Yep.
then basketball, then football. And they've also got this. It's really they did these. They're called leaf vaults, and instead of cards, it's actually not paraphernalia. What the fuck's the word I'm looking for? Signed stuff, memorabilia. There we go. There we go. Paraphernalia. Where the fuck's your head at, Turb? Jesus Christ, you got him pothead. Where'd you learn that? Drug school. But instead of cards, they're signed helmets, and everything is is signed with a certificate of authenticity. They'll do jerseys, balls, bats, helmets, boxing gloves, boxing shorts, and there's pictures in there, and there'll be like weird. There was a weird Hope Solo picture where she's naked. You can't really see the front of her. You can see her butt. She's naked watering her lawn, and it's signed Hope Solo. There's another one where I want to say one of the last ones they did. They had a Serrano from Major League. His name escapes me. It always does. It always does. Even though I worked for Allstate, do you think I'd remember? His name's Dennis something, and I can't remember his last name. But he had a back when he was in Major League. They had a picture, and he signed it. And they've had a lot of weird stuff. Like they had a really weird George Clooney signed picture that was from it seemed like 1982, where he looked like he was 12. And yeah, so they're. And then Fire Hands, they'll do mini helmets all the time.
Yep.
They'll do there's baseball, like signed baseballs they do. So it's not just cards, but one of the things I wanted to hit on right now, because it's specifically important, is it is so hard to find cards these days at any retail spot. And when you do find them, you're lucky, because some people will sit there for days and days out until the supplier comes and refills the shelves, and then they'll buy all of them. And then they'll buy all of them. These the 2020 Bowman that we were talking about. That's one that's been highly bought and resold. Mosaic for basketball is another one, and these $20 boxes of cards, people are buying all of them and then flipping them on eBay for like $50 or $60.
Which is a $20 box.
Yeah. Which is
flipping it for more than 100%, and people are paying the money. Because they just simply don't want to wait.
I don't blame people for doing that, because they're making quite a lot of money doing it. Is it frustrating? Fuck yes it is. Fuck yes it is. So if you guys are out and about at any Target, Walmart, Meijer, and you see Bowman 2020, just go ahead and pick me up 2 boxes, get a hold of me, and I'll pay you back. Hands down. I'll probably even buy you a couple sodas just to say thank you. But yeah, so there's that going on, which is kind of driving. And I guess I should back up. The reason that the Bowman 2020 are flying off the shelves is there's a player in the Yankees organization named Jason Dominguez. And it's if you guys
or Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt's another one for Kansas City.
Yeah, but Dominguez is the big name, the big name. And if you guys are looking him up on, if you're searching for him, it's Jason with 2 S's, Jasson, which I've never seen it spelled like that before, but whatever. But his autographs are going for an insane amount of money right now, and there's like a 1-of-1 superfractor auto of his that is like $100,000. And so people are buying these and hoping to get a lotto ticket, just like you were talking about with the breaks. I mean, these are lottery tickets.
Yeah, I mean, you're buying if you're lucky enough to find them at a Target or a Walmart. You're buying them for a retail price of $20 for a blaster, and if you were to pull, say, I mean, the odds are very, very against you. But if you are able to pull a Dominguez auto, you're looking at $2,000-$3,000 card just for his base auto.
Yep.
And you got that off of a $20 lottery ticket. I mean, so it's
not too shabby.
No, yeah, it's a very nice payday.
Yes.
But no, unfortunately, these people that are just clearing out the shelves and then flipping them on YouTube for double the price, or obviously, it's a good moneymaker for you, but it's just taken away a lot of the excitement and the fun of the product itself. And I mean, even when this product first came out, that just a Dominguez base card.
It's going for $200.
Yeah, and now that card is kind of came back to reality. I mean, you see it selling for the base selling for $10-15 just because it's not like there was no shortage on prints of those. So I mean, they're all over the place now. And everybody knew that was eventually going to happen, but at the time, people were trying to jump on that early, and these unfortunately people were buying just everything that was on the shelf, and it's still happening a month later.
If you guys do not believe me, go on our TikTok, Turbo and 2K's podcast. The last TikTok I put up there, I want to say the only thing that was left in Walmart or in Myers and Three Rivers was like 2 cello packs of opening day.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Nobody wants that shit.
No, and either that or Pokemon cards. That's a whole other story, and I'm not getting into that one. But let's fast forward to Friday. Let's rewind to Friday. Again, where's your head at, Turb? Friday is one of the biggest basketball releases came out, and it's National Treasures or NT Basketball. Now, one of the cool things about this product is they take a lot of the top guys and they do a 1-of-1 card of theirs that has not only an autograph, not only a piece of memorabilia, but the piece of memorabilia is a Logo Man patch. It's a 1-of-1 card, meaning there's only one of those in existence. Last year, one of the biggest ones was Luka, which Leighton actually pulled. I want to say that the gal that got that sold it for like $45,000. And yes, you heard me right, $45,000
for a card.
Yeah, for a Luka Doncic rookie. No, it wasn't his rookie card. It's just the Logo Man. His rookie was 2018. This year, the Zion Williamson Logo Man 1-of-1 auto. There's bounties. And for those of you who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, bounties are collectors that have said, if you get this card, I will guarantee you this much. $750,000. $750K. You pull this Zion Logo Man auto. There's 2 collectors right now they're like, we'll $750,000. That's what we're gonna give you. Don't even worry about putting it on eBay. Don't take it to an auction. Which, if you have a card for that much, fuck eBay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. First of all, I'm not gonna pay eBay fees that much. Which I guess someone said that the fees max out at $350, but who cares? And then I don't want $750,000 in my PayPal account. No, I'd push a button and the shit would be gone or something stupid like that. So if I were to hit that and I bought in now, you remember we explained the breaks, right? Random teams for this NT basketball or National Treasures basketball was almost $800. $800, and that's random teams. Now you might be asking yourself, well, I mean that's $800. With this product, there's 10 cards per box, and there's 4 boxes in a break, so there's 40 cards. 40 cards, $800. Do the math. And then you're not guaranteed anything. So, okay, here's an $800 lottery ticket that I'm buying. Not only do you have to hit twice. First of all, you have to get the Pelicans, so you have a 1 in 30 chance of that. And then once you get the Pelicans, you got to hit this 1-of-1 card to get the 750 G's. So, yeah, if you got the money, bro, if that's how you ball, do it. Do it. I'll just.
And I mean, there's a lot of cards in the set that you're going to be able to make your money back, or even make some money. I mean, it's not like that Zion card is the only card in there that you're going to make huge money on. But yeah, I mean, there's the odds of you getting nothing are better than the odds of you covering your ass on that $800 that you just worked out. So that's where there's It's a lottery. It's a luck game. It's how you just have to be lucky, and that's you have to buy into the right break at the right time, and everything has to be working for you on it. And
Yes.
I mean, I've dabbled around the whole breaking game because that's how it's going to be. I don't have the money to just start forking it out like I would like to.
But you also like your marriage.
Yes. And so I just kind of dabble around, and I normally am buying into the cheapest breaks that are available. That's just, and if I was able to strike gold in something like that, it's not $700,000 gold. It's a couple $100 gold.
Yeah.
That I'm going with, or maybe a freak opportunity at pulling like $1,000 card. I mean, it's very real, and it could happen, but the chances of that happening are very, very slim to none. I mean, that's the chances of you winning the lottery are very, very slim to none. So,
yeah. But you there's people that have played the same lotto numbers for 25 years. So you know what? It is what it is, and I just wanted to bring that up because A, I thought it was absolutely fucking ridiculous, and B, I'm not ever gonna. No, I think I'm all right with this, and so when it comes to the pricing of things nowadays. Obviously, we talked about because each one of those National Treasures box are about $6,000. Then you have the special ones that are first off the line, which are at $17,000. Like I said, for 10 cards, this is one box. Comparing to us, bitching about we can't find a $20 box of Bowman. These guys are way different price range than us. But there is. It seems like the price of everything is going up. I mean, you look at basketball, you can't find basketball cards in retail at all.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me and why I think everybody has kind of fallen back to this hobby. Obviously, there's a lot of people that already did do it, but for any sports fans out there, sports were they were just taken away from us a couple months ago because of this entire COVID thing. And I think I know for myself personally, this is my sports right now. I've taken on to collecting these, and I'm only into baseball cards. That's really the only thing that I'm into. But this is baseball season. It's supposed to be baseball season right now. So in my eyes, this excitement that I'm getting off of this is the excitement I should be getting off of watching baseball.
Exactly.
And it is a hobby that I've gotten back into, and I hope that I stick with it for a while. But do I think that I'm going to be at the caliber of it next year at this time at what I am right now? Absolutely not, because I think sports are going to be back, and that's going to, kind of bring me back to reality instead of, just getting into. Because the way I look at it, like getting myself into a break is like sitting down and watching a Tigers game. That's kind of the way that I'm looking at things now.
And there's a lot of people that are using it to. I'm not going to say this is a good thing, but they're sports gamblers. And they look at this as sports gambling.
Absolutely.
We couldn't even go out to a bar. So folks got a little extra money.
We're supposed to be having fantasy baseball going on right now, and we're not having that. So we're throwing our fantasy baseball money around into trying to pull a big time card. And
and
it's fun. I really don't care what anybody says about it. I've had so much fun with it, and I'm going to continue to do it. I mean, so
yeah, I haven't done nearly the amount of breaks that you have. But I've bought a lot more these single cards on eBay than I think you have. And I just look for players that I have a lot of Gavin Lux cards, a lot of Bo Bichette cards. I have a lot of Yordan, but I've never bought a Yordan card. I've got them from opening packs. And I've also started to go back and buy a lot of Ken Griffey Jr. stuff. I did get a Jarren Duran, and shockingly enough, aside from his Topps Chrome Sapphire, Fernando Tatis Jr.'s a lot of his rookie cards are very inexpensive right now. I think I'm still waiting for them. I bought them like a month ago, but I think I bought 3 of them for under $10 a piece, and they're all different ones. But yeah, I can't throw around the $600 to get the Topps Chrome Sapphire one. But no, it's something that if you don't have to spend $8,000 on a box to have fun. Hell, I think combined, since we've been doing this for a few months, I might have spent $300 or $400, and that's my ball and budget. You know what I mean? There's, like Jeff has a, he has a side hustle to pay for cards. So he goes for a little bit more of the not super high dollar, but I'd say the next tier up from us. And again, he does that, and when he hits bigger. But if he doesn't hit,
he loses bigger.
That's a kick in the dick. Yeah. It's a kick in the dick. Yeah. So that's kind of an update of where our card journey has taken us, and I'm sure we'll continue to at least drop a hint every now and again, kind of see what we're doing, and if we hit something huge, you guys will be the first ones to know. So. Well, we're actually exactly at that hour mark, 2K. Anything else? Any stone we need to turn over, or however the saying goes? Man, words are fucking hard today.
No, that's everything.
All right. Well, 2K crew, we hope you have a fantastic week. While the weather's nice, get out there, do some barbecuing, do some golf. If you do find 2020 Bowman, let me know. Just don't even let me know. Just buy 2 of them. I'll PayPal you, and we'll arrange to pick it up. So that is if you do love me. But as always, Jim Rome, we are coming for you.